Hey, what's happening, Cincinnati Soccer Talkers? It's episode 65 of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Glad you're with us. We've got a lot, and I mean a lot, to discuss this week. FC Cincinnati fall 2-0 to Orlando City B on Saturday evening. We'll recap the match, and of course, we'll look ahead to Open Cup play and the next opponent for FC Cincinnati. We're also going to be joined this week by the voice of FC Cincinnati, both TV and radio, the one and only Tom Glerter. We're going to get his thoughts on the season so far and how things are going from the broadcasting standpoint. And, of course, we'll open up the phone lines and have your thoughts on the Kings Hammer Hotline, 513-399-KICK. Of course, this episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk is brought to you by the Cincinnati Dutch Lions FC. Learn more about the Dutch Lions at cdlfc.com. Mark your calendars. They'll be beginning their season at home on May 21st. They'll also be facing off against FC Cincinnati's reserves on July 16th. Again, learn more at cdlfc.com. As I mentioned, you can get in touch with us via the Kings Hammer Hotline, 513-399-KICK. Ken is standing by waiting to take your calls. Of course, you can also hit us up on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk or email us at feedback@cincinnati-soccertalk.com. Pleased to welcome in Mr. Bradley Weigel. Brad, it's been a while. How are you, buddy?
Way too long, Nick, but glad to be on with you guys. Excited to talk a little bit about the ongoings of FC Cincinnati. I know it's been a little bit rough, but it was good to get back and hang out at Mecklenburg with everybody, and then especially at the match with the 20 or 30 people that always sit about 5 rows up and right in that center section. So it's good to be with all y'all and excited to be here.
Looking forward to getting your take as well on everything going on with the team right now because, well, there's maybe turmoil is not the right word, but there's certainly some things up in the air regarding this team, which we'll be covering this week here on the podcast. Of course, glad to also welcome back the Lone Wolf, the Wolfman, Bill Wolf. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Good. I'm wearing my white shirt to accent my my wonderful sunburn from the last weekend. So lots of soccer last weekend, lots of sun last weekend.
You're looking a little tan. Got the goatee going as well.
That's more than a goatee. It's a full beard.
Nice.
So.
Very nice. Well, glad to have you back. Of course, loved getting your take on all things FCC. And last but not least,
I was like,
the main man, the stylish one with the flat bill, Joseph Segai. What's up, Joseph? How you been, buddy?
Not much. Want to apologize in advance since I don't really want to get into it too much on the show. When we do our match, 5 things to know and know your enemy, I would appreciate future clarification, Brian. I'll pull yellow cards next time as well, rather than just the red cards from the referee. But I'm sure we have lots to talk about in that regard.
Yeah, certainly wasn't the best officiated game if you're an FC Cincinnati fan over the weekend. I think FC Cincinnati had 8 yellow cards. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. That's pretty impressive. If it wasn't 8, I think it was 6, maybe 8 total. It was a lot of cards in this ball game over the weekend. Of course, they lose 2-0 to Orlando City B. First goal coming in the second half on a unfortunate penalty given up by Kadeem Dakers in the box. Mitch Hildebrandt could not keep it out of the goal, and then it was a late rush as FC Cincinnati was pouring men forward to try to get that equalizer. They fell 2-0. Tom Graybo's prediction at the beginning of the year, saying that FC Cincinnati wouldn't lose a home game this year, well, that's out the window. So their first home loss in a regular season match. Can you tell me the last time that has happened, gentlemen? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this was New York Red Bulls 2 last year?
I think so. I think what they lose last year to Louisville at home and Red Bulls, and then Charleston.
Game in Louisville.
But I think the last one was against Red Bulls
for the regular season.
Right. Yeah, obviously we know about the postseason loss, but
still hurts.
Yeah, still stings. But the home form and really let's talk about just in general the form in general for this team. Not where I think everybody expected here, at least in the middle of May. I'm not sure what to make of what's going on with this team. Still, you have I know that there are things going on with suspensions and injuries, but just things are not clicking right now. So I'll start with you, Brad. Give me your thoughts. I mean, what's going on with this team?
There's so much to talk about. Um, I I'm just really kind of frustrated about how we just can't get clicking offensively. I kind of feel we're fairly solid in the back. I don't think that Orlando was going forward and having all that much success, but it was just we're going forward. We had no cohesion, no connection from the back line to the forwards, and then when we did get the ball up the side, you know, praise Jimmy because he was working his tail off, but when he got the ball into space, on the left side, there was nobody in the middle to get it to. So it's just I don't know if it's the formation we need to change or guys may not necessarily be getting in the right positions or what, but something has to give because we cannot go another 9 more games with this being this futile on offense and still expect to at least compete for a playoff spot, if not even a home match.
Crickets, Bueller, anybody else want to
Yeah.
chime in?
No, well, I think it's important, especially what Bradley said about the offensive cohesion. I have qualms up and down about this ref. We could probably do a whole show about how upset we are with. I don't know if he took a bunch of pre-workout and he got a little jacked up, wanted to give out some cards. I don't know, but the team didn't play well enough to win regardless of that. And the problem I find is one, all right, I don't think it's fair that we've garnered the reputation that we have, but it's become pretty clear to me that there's something out there, whether it be in the back of refs' minds, in the front of refs' minds, whether it be this ref just being that kind of guy. I know he had, 27 cards he's given out in 4 matches he's had officiated. But it's something you got to be cognizant of. I'd love to know what Koenig and Corbin said to get those yellows for dissent. And Austin Berry made it very, very clear that his role as the captain was not respected, and that you'd see in almost any league around the world or in the U.S. that the captain gets a talking to, say, "Hey, your boys need to keep their mouths shut. They're mouthing off." And he made specific comments in his postgame about that. But at the end of the day, I mean, what is that going to solve if we can't get heads on those crosses coming in, if we can't get chances or if we can't be remotely successful in the final third? It's been very disappointing, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is. It's on the offensive side that we're struggling. I mean, aside from the 62 goal, prediction at the beginning of the year, which was really just a way of saying that we want to, shoot more and score more. Defensively, honestly, not too bad. I mean, you look at a score, you say 0-2. That's not a good score, but let's be fair. I mean, the last goal came at the end. We had gone to 3 in the back. We were pushing forward. That's a situation from a coaching standpoint where you're saying, I'd rather lose 2-0 and try for 1-1. Right. I mean, that's fair. I don't even really worry about the last goal so much. And to be honest, then the first goal was a penalty kick. So, are we really, really that bad in the back? I don't think we're having problems back there. I mean, it would be great to shore it up and click a little better, but we need to put more goals in the other team. And to be fair, if we could have scored 2, we wouldn't have needed to pull people out of the back. We might have been able to, hold that game to a 2-1 game. So
It's just frustrating because we didn't even look like we were going to score 1 till the 92nd minute. It's just, there's just no cohesion. What do you think this has anything to do with 9 different starting 11s in 9 matches?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt that this team has not found, its rhythm yet, especially on the front side. I mean, we've changed too many people too quick, and I'm not saying there's much that can be done about it in some cases. Obviously, with suspensions and red cards and other things, we're we're adjusting for that. But some of it was early on playing with new pieces, but we're getting new pieces in as we speak. So yeah, it's changing quick, and it's tough to find that. I mean, I think you talk about cohesion in the back. I think it's even harder to find that cohesion up front, where they're trying to find the creativity and get around behind defenders and such. They got to understand each other. They got to think alike, and not to have the same people up top makes that hard. So I think honestly though, we talk a lot about GB and the suspension for GB. Obviously, he scored 6 goals, though 4 of those were in one game. But if you looked at the way we were playing, we really were developing a game very strongly around him. And to lose him for 6 games kind of took the playbook and threw it out, so to speak. I know Coach Koch spoke about, I want other people to score goals, but there was a lot of balls going into the box and expectations on him to put him in the back of the net. And without him there, we haven't had an answer to that.
I mean, it's pretty simple. How are you going to stop FCC right now? Press Barry and Delbridge, because if you press on them, they can't distribute the ball fast enough. Then just pack every single person into the box to make it pretty much impossible for, this week it was Koenig to get the head of the ball. Then just hit us on the break. It's just, we need to change something up, because we've been figured out.
I mean, it's spectacular that we have a wide pitch. I think you have, I'm saying you had a great game out of McLaughlin, but when there's nobody home, what are you going to do? What are you looking to accomplish with the play that you're having, spreading the wings out wide and having one head in the box? I don't think that's conducive to any sort of success. Like you said, I think the book's been figured out. I don't think, even when Jimmy comes back, he may be as great as he's been in his limited time. You have to offer something else as far as your attacking, something to make the other side feel like they can't pack the box. Something, even if it's just play coming through the middle, even if it's dummy play. I don't feel like when I watch this team and I don't see any play coming through the middle. It's super limited when it does happen, those cuts in, and I think it will keep some defenders honest if they did. But at the end of the day, what are we looking at? I don't see enough push offensively. Even when we get those great runs, when Jimmy's all alone, when Dakers is all alone on the wing, and they have time to collect, to have people in the box, there's nobody to send it into. If that's going to be our MO, then there has to be something adjusted for that.
Well, we talked about it last week. We wrote about it on our website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com, the new addition, Danny Koenig, who came over in the trade for Andy Craven, who goes to Oklahoma City Energy. How surprised were you that Koenig was in the starting lineup right away after really just 2 training sessions?
You would think 2 training sessions would be a little bit surprising, but who else are they going to put up there? I mean, I hate to say this because he's a Cincinnati guy and I'm a big fan of him, but Omar Cummings is the only other forward right now. And we only used 2 subs. We had a sub to Burn, and he still didn't see the field. So, again, I mean, I think Koenig's going to have to be our guy until Jibby gets back, and then we can try to figure some things out. But overall, I was fairly impressed by him. He didn't get a ton of chances, but I think you can see he's a big guy. He rivals the size of Austin Berry or Delbridge. So I think if we can get some things figured out, get him some service, I think we should be able to put the ball in the back of the net.
I say this because maybe I drank the Kool-Aid on him. I told you guys that off the air. I'm shocked that Mansory hasn't gotten more of a chance. I think, his spot would have been that left wing spot, and Jimmy has pretty solidly said and earned the right to be starting here for the foreseeable future with this play recently. But I'm a little shocked that I haven't seen more of Victor Mansory. It seemed like Seattle sent him to us for a reason, and I'm not saying he can be that pure up top striker, but even the substitution time he's getting has been very limited. That's someone who I was looking for. I don't know, like you said, I don't know what's missing, what we're missing with Omar Cummings, whether it be selection or fitness, but I was shocked to see Mansray not getting in a bit more here too as well.
Well, we'd love to get your thoughts, FC Cincinnati fans. Make sure you give us a ring, 513-399-KICK, or hit us up on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk. Well, as we mentioned previously here on the podcast, we were going to be joined by the one and only Tom Glerter. He's the radio and TV play-by-play voice of FC Cincinnati and joins us now on the Kings Hammer Hotline. We welcome in Tommy G back to the show. Tom, welcome back to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How are you? Tom, you with us? I don't hear any audio from Tom. Hello? Tom, you there? Weird. All right, we'll have to try Tommy back in a minute. I think we may be having some issues because our screener actually mentioned there's some issues going on with his system. So maybe we'll try to get Tommy back. In the meantime, let's talk about some more of the Omar Cummings, Bill. I know I'm surprised we haven't seen him much. I don't know if it's due to injury or what, but what are your thoughts on the forward situation?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Omar Cummings. I really thought we'd see more of him after GB's suspension. And we saw Wiedemann instead. Not that, I have anything against Wiedemann. He's obviously a talented player, but he's typically seemed to play more as a center attacking mid or a wing player. He just didn't seem to be effective in that target position. Even calling him a false nine, it just didn't seem to click for us. That seems like a role that Omar Cummings would have been more natural in. So I don't know. I know he took a hard knock. I know he's getting a little older. I'm older than him, and these things it takes longer and longer to heal as we get older and older. So maybe he's just not quite come back the way they've hoped, and they're just not feeling like he's gonna give them what they need. But again, that's, I guess, more between him and the coaches at this point. So
do you guys think that this past Saturday was our toughest moment of the club? Or do you think maybe another event like Hark's firing day?
I think this has been tougher, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the feeling I had in my heart when Harks got fired, I wasn't happy about it, of course. And I didn't think that, there's a lot of uncertainty at that, but there was just the largest part of me holding on to coming back home to Nippert and that being the difference. And it really wasn't. I mean, I think the fans were out and, showed up. And at the end of the day, it was what was on the field that mattered. And I besides losing that playoff game, I think that was a pretty defeating feeling. But there's something that's to be said in that, this season, I think we're crossing through that threshold of excuses and I guess like a wait and see attitude. We're at that turning point where at some point, this match means a lot in Bethlehem. This is us getting a 3-point swing if we win against a team that's right behind us in the standings that could pull us out of the playoff hunt. So.
Yeah, this is just the first. Sorry, Bill. I was just gonna say this is the first time in my history of FC Cincinnati that I've literally just been just disappointed. It sucked that we lost that playoff game, and it sucked we lost Harks. But I just got the heck out of the match. I was just so upset. It just looked like, even though I hate saying this, it just looked like there wasn't a plan, or whatever was going on. The plan just wasn't working. I don't remember feeling that level of frustration, and I just hope that level of frustration doesn't seep into, just seeps into the city, into the crowd, and we start suffering from it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Brad. When we lost the playoff match, to me, that was honestly not a big deal at all. I mean, it was our first season, and it was a good season. The fans stayed. The Bailey didn't want to go home. We played drums and called out to the players, and people were down at the wall getting autographs. And even though everybody was disappointed, everybody was really with the team. I think with the Harks firing, that was off season, so it was a little weird, but we went right into the preseason and we did, okay in the preseason. We weren't, I don't think anybody felt like the performances were bad. Obviously you got a new coach and some new players and you're trying to figure it all out. But I think we even came home and we had some good games. So people started to raise their expectations and feel like we were going to do okay. We beat St. Louis and then we tied two of the other, best teams in the league. And then it just seemed like we were struggling ever since GB got his suspension. And, Bethlehem is just, I hate Bethlehem, but, they're going to be a pain. They're going to be our Charleston this year. And, this game, I think everybody kind of had this feeling like if we come back and win this game, the ship is righted and it's all good. And you could really feel it. I mean, this was a different feeling from the crowd. There were people who left early after the second goal. Even parts of the Bailey, I think, felt quiet to me in the last game. This is a test of the fan base. This is something we haven't had. And this is something that people have to think about what this team means to them and how much they're going to support it. And if it means that they have to win to support it, then that's, I guess, a realization for them. But I hope that people are feeling like they're here to support this team, good or bad, because this is when the team needs it.
Amen.
Well, hopefully we've got all of our internet issues resolved. I think we just might have the voice of FC Cincinnati joining us on the Kings Hammer Hotline. Tommy, are you with us?
I'm here.
Oh, that's
I'm
much
with
better.
you.
Much better. How you doing, Tom?
Yes, I'm great. It's a beautiful night. We got 2 matches this week. What else do you need?
I need wins, Tom. I need wins.
All's good. I know. Yeah, I know. I had a feeling I was coming. Absolutely, we all did, and I think they're coming. It's a matter of time. I think with this group, we have a very talented team, and they're still figuring a lot of things out. But I think those wins are coming. I think you and about 19,300 of your friends are anxious for them as well.
So what do you make of the first 9 games or early on in this season? It just seems like, we look at what this team did a year ago, and I know there are
Right.
some new parts, but it's almost like a complete 180.
Yeah, certainly what happened last year in the first quarter of the season, I think was an exception more than the rule. I remember watching the success early on and being really surprised at how, and that has nothing to do with the players, coaching staff, or anything, but just being really surprised with how well that team came together so quickly early on. And then, this year is obviously a completely different situation. You change the manager in February. You have about, 35% of the roster now is new faces. You have 4 guys suspended. You've had some injuries. So they haven't had any chance to have, lineup and roster continuity. And then on top of that, Alan and I talked about it on Thursday and Friday a little bit about the construction phase. And then he brought it up in the post-match press conference. And there's no question that that's kind of what's going on right now. That doesn't mean it's going to be construction all year. I sure hope it doesn't. But they are all figuring out how the pieces figure together and fit together. And that's Alan, that's Johan, that's all the players. So, I think that it's a team with a lot of talent that's trying to find their identity as a team and how the 11 pieces come together on game day. But I watch them in training a lot, and I spend a lot of time talking to Alan, and I have a lot of confidence in them, not only their talent but their abilities to put this thing together and start winning matches.
Hey, Tommy, this is Bill. Bill. Hey, I watched, things going on with the preseason, and, I got to talk with Coach Koch a bit and a lot of the players. And I'm curious what your take on things are, because, to me, when I saw, the roster that the players that we kept and then the players that we added to this team, It really felt like we were really notching things up. We were bringing the quality of this team up. And to be honest, if you not to say anything negative about Harks, but if you look at his pedigree as far as his coaching experience versus what Alan Koch has been able to do in his history and his experience as a coach, it really looked like on paper this year we were poised to just make a run of things. Something hasn't clicked. I mean, do you agree that this roster and in fact our staff looks to be extremely high quality even compared to last year where we did well? And I mean,
no, for sure, I'm with you. I don't think that it's not bad to say that this roster is better than last year. That's not degrading to last year's roster. Last year had a very good team, and they did great things in the inaugural season, and it certainly was a special year. And I think you're right. It's that clicking. It's everybody on the same page, not only with the manager and what he's trying to accomplish, because of course his system and his way of managing is different than what John was doing. And then it's all the different pieces coming together, because when you look out there in the starting 11 on any given night, there's 3, 4, 5 guys who weren't out there every day. And, soccer's such a game based on tendencies and based on being comfortable with your 11 guys. Look at the best plays and the build-ups. And, Jimmy's goal was a perfect example at Richmond. With 10 or 12 touches to it finally landing on Jimmy's foot and him getting the equalizer in that match. Well, that's the big part about soccer, is that it's a type of sport where you got to have that, comfort with your teammates. You got to know what their tendencies are, and really be clicking with everybody. And I think it's taken a little while. But you talk about running away with things or this being a special year. There's no reason to believe at this point that this can't be a special year, that this won't be a special year, and that this team won't start suddenly clicking. They still have, it was 6 of 7 USL matches at home, so 5 of the next 6 USL matches are at home. There may be a couple U.S. Open Cup matches in there just to keep the rhythm going at home. So I think there's still very much the ability there to start racking up some points here as you head towards the middle part of the season, move up the table a bit and be right there to make your move in the second half of the year.
I think that's a great point. There's a lot of ball game left, and we still have time to make our move. But Tommy, you got your work cut out for you. We got the 5 of the next 6 at home, and we'll be hearing a lot of your voice. What do you think? What are your expectations for this side? Do you think they turn it around here? Do you think they kind of maintain the status quo?
Yeah, I think being home will be good for them. I think getting some different guys some minutes tomorrow night. I believe that Alan said today, as I saw, on Twitter this afternoon, that GB's going to start tomorrow night, which is great. He should get in there and get his legs back a little bit. Obviously, he's still got a little while till he's, back in a USL match. But if he can take 2 U.S. Open Cup matches in the month of May, that's going to help him prepare for when he can return in June. So I think, Danny Koenig played on Saturday. Obviously, he had a couple looks, but nothing really, really dangerous. But he also only had 2 training sessions with his teammates. Now he's had a whole week with them and a game. And I think we'll see that Danny's going to look a lot more comfortable. We saw Friday. It was he scored a spectacular goal in training on Friday on a pass from Matt Boehner. And Kevin McCloskey, who of course does all the matches at home with me, he had just walked into training, and he had asked me if Danny was going to start. And I said, I don't know. Alan hasn't told me yet. He said he needs to, watch training and talk to him and a few more things. And Danny scores that goal on his beautiful pass from Matt Boehner, and Kevin just kind of texted me. He goes, I'm going to go ahead and say he's starting tomorrow. And, he's another dynamic scorer in there. But it's, it's a matter of getting some guys healthy as well. Obviously, Justin Hoyt's hoping to be back pretty soon. Kenny Walker's hoping to be back pretty soon. Kenny Walker's he's a very quiet piece, and his numbers don't always end up on the score sheet. He'll get a goal and he'll get an assist. He has 2 assists already this year. He'll pick up a goal here and there. Kenny Walker's a really important piece for this team. And I think it's an important piece also to have in training every day, because he's a very quiet leader. You see when Austin's out, Kenny's usually the captain. And Kenny's an important piece to have back there to help with the continuity and help the team click. So I think there's still, like you said, a lot of soccer to be played and a lot of opportunity for this club to have a very special season.
Tommy, you just kind of stole my thunder there. I was going to see, what hope you can give us for the, people who aren't around the club every day. So hopefully Koenig could be the guy. But I want to talk about pressure, and we've got a lot of focus on this team, whether it's the new additions, whether it's the increased media coverage, with the TV deal. How do you think that this increased pressure is affecting the players in the front office, and do you think that might be some of the cause for why we've had some of these struggles and some of these, I would say, quick changes with adding personnel?
Are you implying the pressures on me on the broadcast?
No, I'm
talking. No, I'm just kidding. I know what you're talking about. No, I think that I definitely think that there's that may be a part of it too. I think the guys are feeling it right now too. They didn't want to go out there home in front of 19,000 fans, and with the Harrison Delbridge or somebody said that they felt terrible about that result for the home fans. I mean, how many times I was trying to think of it on the air, I say it, and then the numbers off because somebody will tweet at you and correct you right away. But towards the end of the match, I was thinking about it. How many times has FC Cincinnati lost a regular season USL match at home? Was it twice? Their New York Red Bulls 2 last year, Louisville City the first time around. Those are the only 2 at home in the regular season, right? And then Charleston in the playoffs.
Pretty sure you're right, Tom.
That they lost at home. That's what I was trying to think, and I'll look it up before the Saturday broadcast. But that they just didn't lose at home last year, save those 3 matches. And, so it was very tough to lose. And I feel like, this is a very smart, very, very strong soccer group. But, yeah, I think they're probably feeling the pressure a little bit. And, Jimmy's early goal obviously didn't count. The flag was up. But something like that, an early goal in one of these matches, or even a U.S. Open Cup match tomorrow, if they can get out there, kind of, even if it's not all the starters. I mean, and I don't imagine it's going to be many of the starters without having talked to Alan about the lineup much. I think he's going to work a couple of different guys in there. But if they can get out there and get some goals and kind of get that feeling back and relax a little bit, or get an early goal on Saturday against Bethlehem and get that confidence going, I think everybody will exhale a little bit. Everybody will feel good. They'll start to fall into rhythm. And, all it takes is one game, honestly. You have Toronto coming in behind them, then you're at Rochester, then you have 3 at home in June. Things should get rolling in a positive fashion very quickly.
Yeah, I think you're kind of saying the same thing that I was thinking, Tommy, which is that at some level this has potentially become a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that the guys have gotten a little down, they're feeling the pressure, and each game that they struggle, they kind of add to that pressure and they create this self-fulfilling feedback loop of stress and potentially negative results, obviously. I really hope that something turns around. No, it happens to everybody. It happens to youth clubs all the way to pros and all the different leagues. It's you can watch any team kind of ebb and flow through a season. It's part of the natural process, and somehow we got to get these guys feeling that positive energy, whether it's that Open Cup game or whatever. Maybe last year we lost to Louisville in the second game. That seemed to be a catalyst that just kick-started off the team, and they just said that it's not going to happen again. Maybe they felt it a little bit after this game. Maybe that's going to give them the energy, or maybe it's going to be a positive result. I don't know, but it feels like we're poised on the edge of something positive.
And I'll tell you this too: this club is very well prepared every time they take the pitch. Wildly impressed with the way that Alan Koch gets them ready. I'm very fortunate that he lets me behind the curtain a fair bit, and it involves, lets me know a lot of information about how the team prepares and lets me see a lot of it firsthand. And this club is prepared every time they take the pitch. They have an extensive game plan. They know, they know what to expect from their opponents, and that doesn't mean it always plays out, as they put it up on the screen 90 minutes before the game, but this club is prepared. They have very talented players who care about this club, care about this city, and anybody who's in a rut, whether you're playing Major League Baseball and you're in a slump batting wise, or you're a professional golfer and you can't get a good round in, everyone starts to press a little bit. But at some point, you're going to relax. Something positive is going to happen, and you're going to take a deep breath and go, okay, it's not so bad. And then all of a sudden you're scoring goals and you're winning and racking up 3 points here and there, or you're starting to get your home runs again, or you're starting to play better golf. And I really believe they're on the cusp of it. The attitude has seemingly been great of the guys. It's training, and you can tell that they genuinely care about this and want to turn it around.
We're hanging out with the voice of FC Cincinnati, Tom Gloder. Tom, I know you're a busy man, so we get you out of here on a couple of questions here.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're fine.
Let's talk about USL Productions, because I know that was a big push that the league was making this year.
Right.
What kind of things have you seen or has been involved with the broadcasts that has maybe positively affected what you are doing as a broadcaster? And secondly, how have you seen the ratings around the Queen City as far as TV goes? Is it higher than last year? I mean, where are we at from a year ago?
Yeah, from the first part, the USL Productions, for the folks that aren't familiar, the USL is trying to raise the quality of all the team's productions. I think we've seen that in many cases. There's some that they're still working with. We actually have conference calls tomorrow to review how our first few broadcasts have gone. And, so you have two options. Either you do a local production like we do on a varying levels, but you have a base minimum that you have to meet, or you could do a remote production, which some of the clubs we've seen, I believe Bethlehem and Pittsburgh have been two examples of those productions that we've seen for road matches so far. And that's where just the camera folks are local and everything else is being done back in Florida. So the talent's in a booth in Florida and the production's being done from Florida. Remote television is a favorite, but it's a model that's taking place in major markets. I mean, ESPN and Fox do it for some productions because it's a cost-saving measure. So, we're very fortunate, first and foremost, that Jeff Birding and Carlton have been supportive of what we wanted to do with our local production and have invested major dollars into doing it and making sure that we have, if not the best, one of the best productions in the USL. One of the big things that I would say that have come from the USL productions this year that's been good for everybody, I think, is the new graphics package. Anybody who watched last year compared to this year, I think would say that our graphics package looks a lot better. I think it's a lot easier in the eyes. I very much I'm appreciative of the USL and the money they spent and time to put together a big-time graphics package, because it makes a big difference. When you turn it on, it looks big time. And they certainly work to improve that during the off season. So that's been really good with the USL, and we've just been integrating, trying to make everybody's broadcast better across the board. So if we can help somebody else with an idea or to send them some film or whatever it might be to make another production better, then that's a good thing as well. So they're growing. They certainly had some bumps out of the box, but there's different ways that they'll get better in that regard. And you know that for our 16 regular season home USL matches and anything else that we put on television, that we're going to do a big broadcast here in Cincinnati. And the ratings part, which you asked about, we've seen very good numbers so far for our broadcast. We're very happy with what's happening. I'd say it's about the same, maybe a little tick higher on average. I haven't gone through and run the averages for the matches, and obviously we didn't have any road game matches to compare from last season, but I would say probably on average we're up a little bit for this year, which is good. I mean, we're up in attendance. We should be up in viewership as well.
That's fantastic. And I will tell you this from watching the YouTube productions, you're by far the best in the league with what you're doing. So keep up the great work. I know.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I just saw on Twitter you've got a special giveaway to listeners.
Yeah, I was thinking we'll debut the contest here, and then we can tweet it or whatever and put it out there this evening. But I have some extra tickets, for my personal stash for tomorrow night. So I have 4 tickets to give away. Great midfield seats on the west sideline for tomorrow night. And so I think what I'm going to do, I was trying to think of what the best way to do a contest is, and I got a picture ready to go. We're going to do a caption contest, and I'm going to tweet it from the business account from Fourth Floor Creative. So look up Fourth Floor Creative with the number 4TH on Twitter. Fourth Floor Creative, which of course does all the videos for FC Cincinnati as well, and oversees the whole TV production. So go to the Fourth Floor Creative page. If you follow Fourth Floor Creative and use the hashtag MCS and send in a caption contest there on the picture that I'll tweet when I hang up with you guys, then I'll pick a winner tomorrow morning. based on the caption contest, and they'll win 4 tickets, and I think I even have a parking pass to throw in as well. So, I'll direct message the winner and figure out how to get them the tickets tomorrow, and they'll be going to see the U.S. Open Cup for free at Nippert Stadium.
Fantastic. We'll look forward to it. It's at 4THFL Creative. That's where you go follow Tom's business over on Twitter. Are the Cavs going to win it all, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited right now. I feel like the Cavs haven't played forever. It's been wild. It feels like it's been a month. And I talked to a friend of mine at Fox Sports Ohio today. Of course, they cover the Cavs heavily, and he said if you look at it, the Cavs have only played 8 games in 31 days. With the way they got their 2 sweeps and the rest of the playoffs have gone. So I'm anxious to see them tomorrow night. Obviously, they played 8:30, so I'll miss the beginning, but I'll be able to get home for the second half. And I think I'm going to be going to a parade, hopefully, if as long as my work schedule, as long as my boss will let me go, I'm going to be going to another parade in Cleveland, hopefully in a month or so.
Good thing they had all that rest in the regular season, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, whatever works.
That's right.
I'm mad at anybody as long as they win 8 more.
That's right. Well, Tom, again, we appreciate you always joining us here on the podcast. And I think I speak for everybody here at Cincinnati Soccer Talk. You and your team do a fantastic job covering FC Cincinnati. Keep up the great work, and we appreciate your time.
Anytime, guys. You know that. Call me, shoot me a text. I'll jump on anytime. You know that.
You're awesome. See you, Tommy. Enjoy the game tomorrow night.
Be guys. I will.
That's Tom Glurter joining us on the Kings Hammer Hotline. We always appreciate Tommy G's thoughts here on the podcast. He brings it each and every time he joins us here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. We've got phone lines open, 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. Let's go to Steve, who kindly was very patient on hold with us. Steve, welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk.
Hey, it's easy to be patient when you get good stuff from Tommy G like that. That was really great.
Tom's the man.
My big question, it's great to see the kind of insight that he gets behind the scenes that we don't get to see every day. My big question for you guys is, there's, especially at this last game, there's just negative thing after negative thing after negative thing that just keeps piling up on this club as the reasons why things aren't quite clicking. And I wanted to pose a question: is there any one thing you see, whether it's a formation, a position change, or anything that you see from watching the games that you think can go a long way to, helping get us out of this rut?
That's a loaded question, man.
I've been sitting here struggling since Saturday evening, trying to figure it out myself. I felt just like you did after the game, just kind of speechless as to, how to react to it, because the performance just, there's so many things to be critical of, and I really don't know, short of them, gelling together and just more playing time with a consistent lineup, that will really fix what's going on right now. I don't know what your take is.
Steve, first I want to say that's a great question, and I always appreciate when someone wants to address solutions rather than we can all complain, we can all see the mishaps on the field when they occur. As far as what could fix this team, I think Alan Koch is pretty firm in what formation he's going to run, but I think there are some players who are not in the position on the pitch that is conducive to their personal success. To say it specifically, I think Daryl Fordyce has been great in the role he's been given and what he's normally been able to do, but he's been traditionally a striker. So I don't know what the solution is, whether it's a couple of games. I know we brought in Koenig to fill the role until Jibby comes back from suspension. I'd love to see a 2-striker formation, whether it be with 3 at the back and 2 kind of like defensive flankers on the edges. I know our recent signing can kind of play both an attacking kind of front if he needs to be both held up on defense and offense. But do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. But it's something I would love to see. It's something that we've seen a lot of, not have enough bodies in the box if that's the way to solve it, I think that's one way to get it done. And I think when we've been desperate enough to have 3 at the back, it's actually produced some good offense. Obviously, we saw the goal at the end of the last match. That was probably as a result of being reliable on defense with less bodies back there. But that's one thing I've seen.
Yeah, I know Joseph and we were messaging last night, and I made the comment to Joseph, and I think you agree with me. I think that you have a better chance of getting in the starting 11 than Koch does employing a 2-forward formation at this point. To just he hasn't really talked about it. He did mention today to Laura Fowler, I feel, for the first time, maybe partnering Jibby and Koenig. Thank you, Koenig. When Jibby gets back, I just think that it's going to begin and it's going to end with our midfield, and the Walker loss hurts us tremendously. This week, excuse me, this week we had zero connection between the back line and our forwards. And so the only option we had was to get McLaughlin high up that left side and try to throw across in the box. And then unfortunately, Koenig, when he was in the box, it was 4-on-1 the whole time. We need to have our midfielders step up. I don't know if it's a change in formation or a change in personnel, because I like Daryl. I thought he did well in the preseason when he was at second striker, but I don't think he should play in the middle of the 4-3-3. I just thought he was extremely ineffective, both on offense and on the defensive side of the ball, which then really put a lot of pressure and I think a lot of undue hatred towards Aiden Quinn, because the guy was put on a darn island all day. So I think it's going to begin and start with those guys, and I think they need to step up and provide something and just trying to bomb up the flank with the McLaughlin.
Yeah, I agree, Brad. I think Walker's a key piece.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Bill.
go ahead.
Nope.
I was just saying. I was going to say that I'm with Brad. I think for me right now, one of our big pieces is Walker. Tommy G said the same thing. Since he's been hurt as well, it's just the midfield is struggled. He is the guy who he's quiet, but he just gets back and he cleans things up that need to get cleaned up. So.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
Steve, I completely agree with that.
Steve, what do you think about this? We have not seen Paul Nicholson play at all. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think he's maybe played one match since that red card in Bethlehem. They need somebody to fill in the shoes of Kenny Walker right now. And I think we would all agree that that's not really Aiden Quinn's role. I mean, that's not his forte, playing a center defensive midfielder. They need somebody that could lock down the defensive side of things first before getting forward, and somebody who likes to get in there and muck things up. And I think maybe that's a role Nicholson should maybe be that guy. Brad, you're shaking your head no. Why is that?
I don't think Paul Nicholson is fast enough to play midfield anymore. Simple enough.
Can it be any worse than what Quinn's offering?
I don't think it's even that we need to even get into Nicholson himself. I think that's the problem with a two-strike. Like, everyone has these ideas for what needs to be changed. Who are you going to take out? You're going to drop a midfielder. If you put in Nicholson, who are you going to drop? It's like I said, we try to point out the solutions, but then when you try to bring it full circle, putting Nicholson or running two strikers, you find that you always are trying. I find myself internally justifying 12 men on the field because I don't know who to take out.
If you can possess the ball, Aiden Quinn doesn't get put on the island, and we don't have to worry about him because Aiden can make the pass 10 times better than Paul Nicholson can. I mean, I know we haven't seen him too much, but the coaches know it.
There you have it,
I guess when I asked the question originally, is it fair for us to be to be a little bit more critical of Coach for when you don't have a Kenny Walker or you don't have something that's really, giving you the offense that you need? Is it fair to criticize him for not changing the formation to better suit the players that he does have available.
Oh man, now we're getting into Jurgen Klinsmann stuff. Yeah, 100% fair to criticize him. I think he's a professional and he expects criticism, and I don't think that FC Cincinnati's got enough criticism thus far. So I say, yeah, I mean, you can criticize him. I don't think the guy needs to lose his job yet, but yeah,
No,
you
no,
go
I
ahead
do
and
not.
criticize
No.
him. It's fair. It's a fair point. They've won 2 games in 9. In what world is that acceptable? It's not.
Very true. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate the call, Steven. Let's go to our pal Yersky, who's been on hold for quite a while as well. Yersky, what's happening? Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk.
What's up, guys? I wanted to talk about Josu, the new signing, and where you think his best position is. Joseph kind of talked about earlier how he has played up a little bit before. Do you see him more as a left back, or do you see him going into the midfield? I've even heard him being played as a forward in his earlier career. Where do you see him best fit?
You want to chime in here, Joseph?
I would be shocked to see him anywhere but left back, at least for the time being. The issue will become, it depends with Hoyt coming back. It kind of worries me. I was really excited about Justin Hoyt, and then now we're signing someone kind of, it was apparent, and it was very apparent that for whatever reason he started those 3 games. And that 3 games in 8 days, and he looked tired. I mean, he's a human being. He's a professional athlete, and I expect nothing less of what he gave. I expect nothing more than what he gave us. But it was clear we needed bodies on this one, and
he absolutely got burned. Absolutely, on several plays.
With Koenig starting after 2 practice sessions, I would expect we see our new signing in the lineup, or at least getting some playing time, depending on the situation. Who knows? But I wouldn't be shocked at all to see him. Nothing really surprises me with in and outs in the lineup anymore, actually. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Hoyt is starting this weekend with the way things have gone with this team. We'll see. I know they have made so many different changes that you're starting to lose track, and you're starting to wonder, well, where's this cohesion going to come from if people are coming in and out of the lineup? We know GB's going to play tomorrow night. There's going to be a lot of guys who haven't been playing that will play tomorrow night in the Open Cup game. So who knows? But yeah, I'm with Joseph. I'm pretty sure that's the position they're targeting right now is left back.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
All right, Yersky, have a good one.
You too. Have a great night.
That's Yersky giving us a ring. We've got the phone lines open, 513-399-KICK. We've got a couple minutes left in the show if you want to have your say, FC Cincinnati fans, 513-399-KICK. So we've got 2 games this week, guys. The Open Cup game against AFC Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah?
Yeah.
Everybody's really excited about that match. And then, of course, the last time, unless we see him in the playoffs, Bethlehem Steel coming up on Saturday. I don't know. I think that if you're a team struggling for form, having quick turnarounds like this probably is a good thing, right? I mean, rather than letting it stew and sit all week, now you got some guys who are going to play tomorrow night that maybe this is their kind of their way to get some form and get things going.
Yeah, and Coach Koch said today, I think after practice, that if you could have a week to have a midweek game and get back on the pitch, it was this week, because there's a lot of frustration in that locker room. You could really see it on Austin Berry's face during his post-game press conference. These guys need to get some positive juices flowing, and there's not a better way to do that than to get back on a friendly pitch in front of your fans and get a win against a team that you should win day in and day out against.
Anything to build momentum like seriously anything. And I don't think a lot can be lost. We don't know exactly what the lineup's going to be put out besides, what's been alluded to with Jimmy getting to knock off some rust. But I think getting those positive vibes, and I think there'll be a decent turnout at Nippert too. Not anything like Saturday, but just the mentality, and it's got to be disappointing that just as a competitor, these guys are professional athletes. They something to get that ball rolling, because I think this stretch is going to define the season for this team, whether they can trend up or trend down, and or maintain the status quo. But I can't imagine what that would mean to the team, even though it's just the Open Cup, to actually get a W in the books here.
I think it's good just to do something different, right? I mean, we've been playing the USL games for a little bit. Everybody keeps talking about the record, and the frustration is there. And let's put our minds to something else for a little bit. Let's think about the Open Cup. Let's think about making a nice run there. This is the start of another competition. It's our chance to kick this one off right. Like Brad said, we should win this game hands down every day of the week. So hopefully that happens, and I'm gonna believe it will. And let's go out and enjoy some good soccer. Let's let the guys feel good about some stuff, and get another shot at Louisville at home.
All right, so you guys have one-word answers to this question. Tomorrow night's Open Cup game at Nippert Stadium with AFC Cleveland. Blowout or tight?
Tight.
Tighter than it should be, but still a win. So
Joseph doesn't know how to follow instructions. It was one word, but okay. How about you, Bill? Neither. Interesting. So what would that be?
I can only use one word. It won't be a blowout, but it's not going to be tight. Right?
All right.
2-0 or something, right?
Okay.
We'll
Actually,
win, but it won't be.
Can I take more than one word, Soups?
Sure, since everybody else did, Brad.
All right. I've actually heard that our second string has been playing quite well and pushing the first string a lot in practice. So I could clearly come out and see our second string just blow the doors off of AFC Cleveland. And then we got a lot more questions to answer.
Plus, it helps. You're going to have GB starting up top.
So that was a tight and then blowout. And Brad, come on.
I got it. I'm a twin, dude. I get two answers.
Let's see. That's how that works. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. And how many times too have we seen? I'm not saying that FC Cincinnati is going to go deep and make a run and win the U.S. Open Cup. I mean, we never see USL teams really get that far down the line in this competition. But teams that are struggling in their regular season, we always see that this is the chance to kind of start anew, and maybe you go far down into this competition. Teams like Wigan a couple years ago won the FA Cup, and then what happened? They got relegated. I mean, again, I'm not saying we're going to win the Open Cup, but maybe they find some success. As easy it is for me to say that, and then that carries over into the Premier League, the USL. Holy cow, I'm way off. I gotta recalibrate over here. So who knows? We'll see. But it'll be really nice to see Jibby playing again and hopefully scoring some more goals, because the last time he played at home, a couple times ago, he had a nice 4-goal night. So we'll see what happens. Of course, we'll have the match recaps and more over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. It's time now for the Growler Cup. This is where we predict the outcome for our league play, USL. We're taking on a Bethlehem Steel side that has 3 wins this year. Count them, 3. 2 of them have come against, you guessed it, FC Cincinnati. So, is this going to be a different story at home, guys? I'll start with you, Bill. Where are you going to take us in this Growler Cup?
Oh, I am always Mr. Positive, aren't I? Yes, we're going to win. This is going to be different than we've been seeing with Bethlehem. We're gonna win the Open Cup game against Cleveland. We're gonna get back into some exciting soccer again and get guys feeling positive about things. And we're gonna go finally give Bethlehem what they deserve, and we're gonna beat them 2-0.
All right, Bill's going for a 2-0 against Bethlehem Steel. How about you, Yosef?
Dear God, I hope they win. Just 2-1. I don't know, man. I don't know if I really believe it anymore. But I just can't. I think this is going to be it for the team. Like I said, this stretch matters a lot, and I'm really sad that we didn't get what we needed from it against Orlando. 2-1 victory, soccer ball kicking, good guys, and I think this is going to be where we turn it around and gain some momentum.
All right. Last but not least, I'm going to go to you, Brad Weigel. What do you think?
They say third time's a charm, and I was selling, but now after talking to Tommy G, I think I might be buying here. So I'm going to go 2-0, and just because we can't do any worse than we've been doing, we've got to turn this around at some point in time. So Tommy G's optimism, and I'm going 2-0 win.
All right, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I just think that this team still has that tendency to go. So I hope that gets cleared up. I hope I'm wrong, but I think they win 2-1 on Saturday night at soccertalk.com. I think it's time we start to wrap things up here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I'll start with you. Final thoughts, Bill Wolf.
I think I'm going with Yosef. I think this is where we turn it all around. We lost last year to Louisville, and then we began this massive, mid-season rush or whatever, where we did really well. I think this is the wake-up call that we needed. The guys, had their heads hung low and they were unhappy last weekend. It's time to turn it around. We're gonna win the Open Cup, and it's just gonna keep going from there.
Good stuff as always, Bill. Appreciate your efforts this week. All right. Let's go over now to Yosef Sagai. Your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I guess outside of what's going on in the field, what always makes me happy with the team, meeting the people who follow it and follow the show. I really appreciate it. Got to meet some people from Mecklenburg. There's a couple people I knew way back when who listened to the show. That was great. I also wanted to thank our newest Growler Cup entrant, CJ. It was a pleasure meeting you at Rheingeist, my friend. You have my number. You always have a ticket in the Bailey. Just reach out to me. CJ's got a kid at home, so he's been cognizant of not maybe taking that newborn into the Bailey. But, FCC's I feel like this support culture is a family. And at the end of the day, whether we lose every single game or win a title, that's something I'm thankful for. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Yosef. Of course, we do welcome our newest entrant, Shima-John, or as you call him, CJ.
He goes by CJ.
Thank you for your support, CJ. If you want to support the show and enter the Growler Cup, you can go log on to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. Yosef, as always, appreciate all you do.
Thanks for having me on, Nick.
And last but not least, Bradley Weigel. Brad, your final thoughts.
Hey, Joseph hit the nail on the head. This is all about community, and my favorite part is getting together with everybody before, during, and after the matches. And so just wanted to announce that on Saturday, August 26th, we will be having our second annual Cincinnati Soccer Talk Foot Golf Classic. This year, it's going to be over at Woodland. So we'll have some more details, but talk to the club. We're going to have players there. We're going to have a bunch of different prizes. It's going to be great, just like last year. And then afterwards, we're going to have a great event. I think we're going to be at the Public House afterwards. So look out for the details on Facebook, Twitter, and the website later this week. And I hope to get you all signed up, so get your teams ready.
What's the most amount of teams we can add this year? Because I know last year we maxed out right around 18.
Last year was 18. This year is 36.
I like it.
So 18-hole course, so we can double up. And this year, I already talked to FC Cincinnati, and some of the players' feedback from last year is they wanted to play some holes with the people. So we're gonna have some celebrity players out on the course. So it should be a good time. And those the firm guys better be ready to defend their title. There we go. Thanks, William.
So August 26th. Looking forward to that.
August 26th.
I'm going to mark it in my calendar, get some time off, hopefully around that time, provided there's not high school football going on that weekend. So we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to that. Was a great event a year ago, and you did a great job with that, Brad. And it's only going to get better. And check it out again, August 26th for the second annual Cincinnati Soccer Talk Foot Golf Classic. My final thoughts this week. I've got to give a huge shout out and thanks to Jeremy Schultz. I've never met Jeremy, but he did something absolutely incredible this week. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it down to the game Saturday. I had a couple of soccer games I had to coach for my U10 girls team. And Saturday night, I got these messages from folks with pictures of me on a flag. Jeremy was kind enough to put my mug on a flag with the phrase "Watch your tackles" on it, and was displaying it proudly in the Bailey. So, Jeremy, thank you very much for that. Talk about an ego boost. That was that was pretty cool. I was very honored to see that, and my wife didn't believe me until I showed her the pictures, and then she was pretty impressed. So, thank you, Jeremy, for that. That was really cool, and obviously, it was very evident. It needed to be the words "Watch your tackles" needed to be. Everybody on that. He needed to take heed of that with the way the ref was calling the game on Saturday, because we were actually all kind of joking around amongst us about the red card was coming. It was only a matter of time. Somehow we didn't get one with all the other cards that were shown on Saturday, but pretty cool. So thank you, Jeremy, for doing that. That was really kind of you to do that, and thank you for supporting us here at Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Again, if you want to support the show, you can. CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. We'd love a rating and review on iTunes if you have a minute as well. CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/iTunes. Go check out our website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Subscribe to the podcast. If you subscribe, you'll automatically get our newest podcast, March to Match Day, that Brian Weigel puts together. He's got a preview of the AFC Cleveland game, and of course, he'll have another preview of the game against Bethlehem Steel. So go check out March to Match Day at our website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Our thanks to Cincinnati Dutch Lions for their support of CST. Go check out their website, CDLFC.com, to get tickets for their upcoming game coming up May 21st. Log on to CDLFC.com. Thanks to Tom Glerter, voice of FC Cincinnati, for joining us this week here on the podcast. And, of course, we thank you for listening each and every week. So, for Bill Wolf, Brad Weigel, Yosef Sagai, I'm Subs, reminding you to watch your tackles, and we'll catch up with you next week.